In this video, I'm going to talk to you about the function transfer information vertical compress, also known as vertical shrink. Now, if you're looking at a graph, you'll notice a graph compresses when it gets shorter and it gets wider. So from the parent function, notice how these compressed functions are getting shorter and they're getting wider. So the best analogy I have for this is stepping on a balloon. If you step on a balloon, you compress it down, and then when you compress it down, it also gets wider. So here's a great example. Notice when we step on the balloon, it gets shorter, but it also gets wider. See, it's popping out that other side there. Again, when it's compressed, it gets shorter, it gets wider. And then the moment I know you've all been waiting for. So satisfying. So, again, a compression on a graph makes it shorter and wider. Now, how do we actually do that? Well, if you're thinking about this, because this is a vertical transformation, we're only going to be affecting the y values. And very similar to when we were doing the vertical stretching, in this case, we're going to be multiplying the y values by whatever fraction is on the outside. Okay? So, let's go ahead and take a look. First, we'll look at the positive side. So, in our parent function, we have an a y value at 1. So we have a point at 1, 1. My y value is 1. So when I multiply my parent function on the outside by 1/2, notice that my y value changes. Now my y value is 1/2 times 1, which is just 1/2. 0.5 is 1/2. And then if we multiply on the outside by 1/4, the same thing's going to happen. We're going to multiply our y values, this time though, by 1/4. So again, if you're looking, the new y value is 0.25, okay? So when we're multiplying on the outside, we just multiply the y value by whatever the number is. Parent function is 1. This 1/2 times x to the third has a new point at 1/2. And then 1/4 x to the third is a new point at 0.25, okay? Very similarly, on the negative side, if we're looking at the parent function, we know that we have a point at y equals -1. Notice that when we multiply that function by 1/2, we now have -1 times 1/2, so that new point is at -0.5. And then for the last one, when we multiplied our x to the third by 1/4, our y values are going to be multiplied by 1/4. So our new y value is -1 times 1/4, which is -0.25 or -1/4. So remember, when you are multiplying on the outside of the function by a fraction, a number between 0 and 1, you multiply the y values by the fraction.